All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16. Max Barr joins SEC basketball power rankings. Is this week 2 or 3? 2?
2.
No, it all runs together. There's been so
Moving
many games
fast.
played.
Moving fast.
Season's almost over, basically, at this point. We appreciate you guys jumping in. More SEC basketball power rankings. We are presented by FanDuel. Let's tell you quickly, as always, about our friends at GameTime SIDEKICKS, officially licensed stainless steel drinkware, every SEC school. Over 350 more universities as well. Stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, 40-ounce bottles, and shaker cups. SE16, you know it by now. SE16 for 20% off discount over at GameTimeSidekicks.com. Sam Smith, we need transparency. Who votes on these? I do, Sam, and Max does. There you go. Transparent as can be. So let's get into our power rankings. And as always, the composite ranking, Max and I combine ours together. We see what we come up with. There will be a few tiebreakers along the way, but Max will explain what we did to break some of those ties. And yeah, these should be interesting. I have no idea what the order is. Always makes it more exciting for me, Max. Let's go.
Right?
Yeah.
You know who else is excited? Zach is in the chat. We rarely get to see Zach early mornings with his work schedule, but woken up just for this, going back to sleep right after. You might not be able to go back to sleep right after with how much we're going to be hyping up the Tigers after that weekend performance, Blake, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. If you guys can't tell. The sun's shining today, Blake. I don't know what it is, but I am feeling that I'm not sick. Can you tell with the voice? The COVID's gone. I'm feeling like $1 trillion.
Well, good for you, Max Barr. Strep's running wild over here in this household. So congratulations on your health, pal. But yeah. All right.
Well, as we trade places, one team that has not traded places yet is the Gamecocks. South Carolina.
Boo.
Still at 16.
Come on.
They have played just one game this past week since the last power rankings. They played on Wednesday a 20-point win over Presbyterian. They were about minus 15 in that game, Blake. They were looking fantastic, up big in the second half, got the cover, got the nice win. I believe you had South Carolina at 15.
I did. Come on, you cowards. Again, we're the only two people who vote on this. But yeah, I did move South Carolina up this week. And we'll discuss why in a second. But yeah, I mean, look, we don't have much to go on with South Carolina. They've only played one game since last week's rankings. Beat Presbyterian by 20, as you mentioned. They're going to play Radford tomorrow night. I just don't expect, a lot more movement for them until possibly next week when they do play Butler on Friday and Northwestern on Sunday. So we will know exactly maybe where South Carolina sits for next week's rankings, as they'll probably be one of those teams that has some pretty, I would say, significant movement if they win. If they don't win, then obviously you can't really move too much further down here. But yeah, so not a lot to debate here on the Gamecocks right now.
Well, the reason that there might be a little bit of debate, Blake, is because the Aggies and Buckyball, they also only played one game this past week. They had the Sunday Oklahoma State game last week where they lost by 24 on the road. And then they get the whole week off, and you're playing at home against UCF. Still no Mackenzie McBacko, probably the best player on the team, but still, you're at home with a week off. Not the result you wanted at all. You had a 14-point lead, 54-40 in the second half, and then end up losing by 12, Blake. The Aggies now dropping 2 in a row here.
Yeah, I did drop them to the last spot. I was more so just recent results and just not very impressive. After those first 2 wins, which, again, Northwestern State, Texas Southern, those are sub 300 teams in KenPom. So, yeah, to get blown out at Oklahoma State, lose by 12 at home, give up a lead, like that was just very discouraging. I think for the Aggies, they will, and I think too, as we do these rankings early, you have to place it within the context of who is playing. And with Mbako out, I just think you have to consider them down here in this range, whether it's 14, 15, 16, whatever, just because they're not quite the team that I was hyping up as a sleeper just yet, because they don't have their best player. So we'll see what that looks like when they get him back. But for now, hasn't been pretty the last couple games.
Yeah, in wait and see mode for the Aggies. Got to get back because I really think with the way that they want to run up and down, Mbako is going to be everything for this transition offense.
Look out for Montana tomorrow night. The Grizzlies come in 4-1. They got to win at UNLV. They put up 102 there. UNLV just beat Memphis on the road. Look out. Just saying.
Money Williams. Money Williams. Okay. What's one of the best names in college basketball, by the way, for Montana.
Money.
Moving up, Mississippi State at 14. Mississippi State, they did not play this past week until Saturday against. So what's with all these SEC teams, Blake, giving us only one game a week? Oh, actually, they had the Monday game. It's been a long week.
That was all the way back.
Yeah. Doesn't that Iowa State game feel like it was last week, 2 weeks ago?
A
while ago. Well, they dropped that Iowa State game by 16, and then on the home bounce back on Saturday had actually a little bit of a tester there, Blake, against Sela, and get the win by 7, 75-68. Things haven't been looking too smooth for Mississippi State, but they also haven't been looking absolutely terrible. It's kind of been right in the middle.
Yeah, Jaden Epps was back. Remember, they didn't have him against Iowa State, but yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna find out more about Mississippi State though, because they are one of those teams really over the next 3 weeks or so. I mean, they've got a lot of games against teams that are not elite, but teams that aren't bad, right? They got Kansas State, SMU, Georgia Tech on the road, San Francisco, Utah, teams like that. So we'll probably see Mississippi State have quite a bit of movement over the next couple of weeks, because win or lose, that's probably going to change our outlook on them a little bit, just based on kind of these opponents they're going to face, because they're not the 200 and 300s kind of pushover type teams. They're going to be playing some decent teams here. So, So I don't have a lot to say on Mississippi State. They kind of have been what we thought they'd be to this point, a team that's a work in progress. And yeah, they just got to figure some things out. And especially, I think, just what are they going to be offensively beyond Josh Hubbard? I think we're still searching for that, and turnovers too, as we know, has kind of been an issue.
I was just going to mention the turnovers, and maybe having a little bit of continuity in the backcourt now for a week or two is going to help getting Jaden Epps back. But even then, Epps hasn't been a super high volume creator, more of a scorer himself as well. So interested to see how that turnover scenario is going to shake out. One team that, you got something.
Jeff just says, hang on a second. Let me just give you a $2 super chat. The streak continues here at Southeastern 16. The super chat streak still going. Big Gator EJ saved it last week. Jeff says, you know what? It's a Monday morning. Little $2 super chat for these guys right here. We appreciate you as always, Jeff, for hopping in. All right, now that the pressure's off, the super chat streak has been broken. Let's continue on to number 13.
An interesting team, a fun team. The Sooners of Oklahoma had one heck of a game on Saturday. If you go watch the highlights on YouTube, if you didn't catch this game, 105-99, Oklahoma drops. Well, let me rephrase that. It was called a neutral court game. This was as Nebraska home game as it gets. Porter Moser was like, in the post-game press conference, Porter Moser was like, yeah, you're going to miss me with that neutral court. That was a road environment. But this game, it kind of had the environment feel of Auburn, Houston, where the crowd is just like, no one's sitting down. Every possession, something's going crazy. Nebraska scores over 60 points in the second half, could not miss a shot, and end up beating Oklahoma at 99-105. Nigel Pack had 27. Pretty much named the player. They probably had 20 in this game. It was a fun one. Blake, the offense looks incredible. The defense looks the opposite of incredible.
Well, that's my kind of team, so that's the kind of team I root for. No, it was very entertaining. I was joking a minute ago. I mean, there were so many threes where they combined for 29 threes in this game, 14 for Oklahoma, 15 for Nebraska. And Reek Mast, man, is the greatest player in the history of the game at this point. Some are asking. Yeah, so a great game. It really was very entertaining. But like you said, I don't think Porter Moser is going to be very entertained by some of the defensive things right now. So, another team I just don't have a great read on just yet. The defensive numbers have been not great. But, we'll see. Their schedule picks up after Thanksgiving. they'll get a couple wins here over the next couple with Oral Roberts and Alcorn State, but things don't really pick up for them until the Friday after Thanksgiving against Marquette. So,
yeah, we don't know what to do with this team, and neither do the analytics. This is one of the weirdest early season discrepancies amongst analytics sites I've ever seen. KenPom has Oklahoma as 66th, well outside the tournament picture, not even sniffing the tournament right now. Evan Mia has Oklahoma 46th, 20 spots higher, maybe a little bit on the outside of the bubble. Torvik has Oklahoma 41st in the tournament, looking in not horrible shape, 25 spots higher than KenPom. Like, this is weird. I've never seen anything like this.
Look at their schedule. Like, that's where, I mean, like I said, their schedule picks up. I mean, obviously they've already played the Zags in Nebraska, but like they'll get into that consistent like 4-game, 5-game stretch against teams that are power conference teams. But like outside of that, they played 355, 363. They're going to play 307, 345, 327, 356, and 365. Like,
there's
their non-conference schedule is split between, I don't want to say, again, there's a lot of teams kind of in that middle, but like you're on the extreme of like the bad teams from a metric standpoint, and then you're facing some teams that are kind of in the middle. You've played one elite team in the Zags, probably not going to see another elite team along the way, unless one of those teams in December just kind of goes on a tear or something. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know that I'll even feel like I have a great grasp on what Oklahoma is heading into that opener against Ole Miss on January 3rd, because I don't know. I think you're going to see some ups and downs, and I don't know. There's going to be one of those teams, I think, that's hovering around the bubble, is my guess. So
Moser said should get guard Jaden Jones back within the next 2 weeks, and Kai Rogers should be getting to full health. Said they haven't been able to even run 5-on-5 in practice yet. So I get wait in progress, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Moving up, LSU at number 12. LSU just continues to be growing on us, Blake. Thursday, 98-81 home win over FIU. Pretty much led the entire game. Mike Nwoko, big game. Markel Sutton continues to impress. Max McKinnon with the nice bounce back game. It is FIU, though, not too much to take away, and really not much looking forward this next week. You got to go almost 2 weeks out until we get the first kind of tester for LSU.
I don't even know if it's that. Like, I think it may be further, because Drake's not very good. Let's call it what it is. Boston College lost at home to Central Connecticut. I know they just won at Temple, but I'm still not trusting the team that's just been so up and down like they have the first couple weeks. So I think LSU, if you really look at it, like, to me, they should be 7-0. You should be very disappointed if you're LSU and you're not 7-0 heading into that neutral court game against Texas Tech, which, again, how neutral? There'll be LSU fans there, but it is in Fort Worth. We know Texas Tech fans are going to be there. Again, that's where, if you're going to turn this thing around, you got to win these next 4 games. You should beat Drake. You should win at Boston College. That will tell us a lot about whether LSU is, again, the type of team that's about to get into this tournament picture. So we'll find out.
Yeah, just hard to have too confident of a take right now on LSU without the quality opponent, but they have moved up quite a bit in the analytics because they keep covering the projections. So hey, keep doing that, and you'll put yourself in good position.
They've played some better opponents than most SEC teams if you're just looking at it from an analytics standpoint. So
yeah,
that doesn't hurt. Like, they've not played a team worse than 230-ish in KenPom, whereas some teams have already played 200-300 or 300 plus type teams. So
the development I'm looking for with LSU is what happens at the 3 when things get really tight, because right now they're kind of just rotating a little bit of everybody. Pablo Tamba, Markel Sutton, Lil Rashad King, a little bit of everybody on the wing there. When things really get tight and you need your best 5 out there, your most fluid 5 on offense right now, I wonder what that wing looks like for Matt McMahon, but maybe we'll see that next week. All right. Number 11, the Longhorns of Texas. They are in a similar analytical spot as LSU, and they have also played, You want to talk about opposite ends of
This is my point right here.
Played number 1 Duke to start the season, and then we've got in the mid 300s in the nation analytically over the last 3 games. Texas coming off of a Saturday 71-55, kind of disappointing win over Kansas City. Kansas City never led, but Texas didn't really impress. Didn't really come away very happy with it. I don't think they covered the analytical projection. Coming up this next week, only have 1 game, and that's against 323rd Rider.
Texas is a bad shooting team right now. They're struggling from 3. They're struggling to make free throws. I mean, they're 277th nationally in three-point percentage, 298th in free throw percentage. So, I mean, that's something that obviously has to be corrected. But I think their defense is going to be, and I know they've played some teams that just aren't great, but I do think their defense is going to be something that if we're looking up come February and March and they're grinding out some of these games, I don't know that Texas is going to be the team that's playing the 90-88 games. I think they're going to be kind of the one that probably, may have to force some teams to play in the low 70s, something like that, win some games in the high 60s. Not because I don't think they pack an offensive punch. I just think it's, I think there are going to be some things to be desired with this team from a shooting standpoint. But it's okay. They're 3-1, only losses to Duke. Rider coming to town on Tuesday, and then they're off and running from there with some pretty good games still on their non-conference schedule, Virginia, UConn, and such.
Through 4 games, right now 14th in the nation in offensive rebounding percentage. You can thank Voki Titus and Traore for that, and that's not going to go anywhere. Bet they're top 15 all year, top 20 all year. That'll probably be when you're looking at their offensive profile. I'm willing to bet the offensive rebounding number will be their best nationally. Right now, Sean Miller kind of trying to find out who's going to be the team's point guard here, playing a little bit of Jordan Pope, a little bit of Simeon Wilcher. Not really sure who's going to be the main guy. I think it might end up being Wilcher, not going to lie, based on the last 2 games. But still figuring that out. We got a few games. That Virginia game at home is not going to be easy, and you can't look over Arizona State and Bobby Hurley on a neutral. Just didn't look too bad against the Zags. So only got 1 tune-up game here before it gets a little bit tougher for the Longhorns. Top 10, Blake. Top 10. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Georgia. Oh,
the Rebels.
The Rebels. We're on 10, yeah.
Yep, the Rebels of Ole Miss. They come in after a Friday against Cal State Bakersfield, 82-60 win, pretty much wire to wire, and it was like everybody on the roster scored a little bit. Not too much to go off of other than the Memphis win, but coming here at 10, I believe you may have had them at 9, I believe. Did you have them at 9 or 10?
I don't remember.
We were swapping Ole Miss and Georgia all morning, folks.
Yeah. I think, again, there's maybe not a lot right now, just based on resume to this point. But I did find some of the things Ole Miss, did against Memphis pretty impressive. And my guy, he's my guy now, Max. Sorry, stole you.
Oh, Ilias?
Still an Ilias from you.
Oh,
wrote about him in the Baskiner Review column last week. Check that out there. But yeah, he's just tremendous, and I think it's one where, again, if you look at the way Ole Miss is playing right now, they're doing a lot of things well. I mean, they'd probably admit, hey, we're still, we got to improve in some areas too, but I do like what I've seen from this team, and I think that's the key word, like team. We love Elias, but some other guys are making key contributions, and I think it's the number of guys who are doing that, right? And that's where I think you're starting to see the depth fill out a little bit. And I know in some of these games that are blowouts, you're going to see more people play, but the more I see some of these guys, I'm thinking, okay, I know coaches will eventually kind of shorten the rotation a bit, but they got quite a few guys, man, who can make an impact, right? There's going to be times this season where we're talking about Elias, but then we're going to be like, that was the AJ Storr game, or the Malik Dia game, the Keza Giffa game, the Travis Perry game. He's making shots. Like, they got a pretty well-rounded, I think, balanced rotation, and that may be something that's kind of sneaky underrated for them heading into SEC play, whereas, we still have our questions about some of these teams when it comes to maybe overall depth and rotation-wise. So,
and you've really gotten nothing from Corin Johnson. He didn't play against Memphis, only 9 minutes. He hasn't gotten double-digit minutes yet. Was dealing with injuries in the preseason. But you still have depth pieces here, Blake, that aren't fully healthy, that aren't clicking like they were expected to be. So, only on the up. The analytics are also, so just like Oklahoma, the analytics on Ole Miss have no clue what to do. Ken Pom has Ole Miss 28th, basically top 15 or top 25 team. So they have 20. Ken Pom has 28th. Bart Torvik has 43rd, way behind. And then Evan Mia has 49th, almost outside the top 50. So I've never, usually they're just like a little bit off, but I mean, we're 2 weeks into the season now, and on Oklahoma and Ole Miss, Evan Mia is saying, well, right now, probably not even an at-large, maybe outside looking into the bubble. Ken Pom's saying, rank them. Like, very weird right now.
I'm with Chris here. I mean, I think Ole Miss, too, is certainly in that category of sleeper teams. Chris says Ole Miss sleeper team for top 4 in the SEC this year. Yeah, I mean, I think you put them in that category. We'll see as they start to play, better competition. But I do think, like I said, that they've got some things that if you watch them play, you can kind of see that path for them to potentially get there. So, and I want to bring this up too. Go ahead and transition to number 9. I'm going to assume that's Georgia.
Yep, Georgia number 9.
And I know Robert brings up, he says that, shout out to Robert back in the show for the first time in a while. Noted Georgia fan says, can't believe you have Georgia over Ole Miss given they struggle in their only high major game. And you guys know I love the Dogs. Well, here's the thing. Memphis is not a great team. And so, like, I'm not taking anything away from Ole Miss, but, like, I don't, you know what I mean, Max? Like, it's a good win, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, Memphis just got beat by, 14 yesterday at home to UNLV? Josh Pastner just comes in there and just says, let me grab this 14-point win. So I think we said, like, Memphis is a team that I don't have a great read on, but, like, if we're comparing wins, like, I don't see anything wrong with being like, okay, well, maybe the Georgia at Georgia Tech and the Ole Miss against Memphis are about the same. Like, I don't really see that as a bad thing for Georgia, right? And you can say struggled. I mean, they won it though, 92-87. So I don't know. I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other, but some of these teams, I think we have to remember, like, yes, Georgia Tech's probably not going to wind up being a great team. I don't think Memphis is going to wind up being a great team. So, like, you just have to, what do you value in some of these wins and losses, I guess?
Yeah, I think Memphis stinks. I just don't think they're.
I just sit there and just beat around the bush for 30 seconds. And I'm just like, you know what? Here's what I think.
Sorry, don't think they're going to make the tournament. But you're going to find out really quick with the Iowa neutral court game. Ole Miss against Iowa. We won't have to wait too long. But yeah, Memphis.
What a coaching matchup that is.
They're playing. Memphis is playing like 5'10", 6'3", 6'3", 1 through 3. It's not gonna work. But Georgia, however, has been working. Everything's been working, Blake. They're up to 34th in the analytics on Ken Pom after they didn't cover the spread against Georgia Tech, but who cares? Georgia's looking fantastic. Got Florida A&M tonight, and then Xavier, another team who really was projected to be a decent team, but Xavier has looked, I wouldn't even say stink. They've stank. Any type of word you wanna apply with that. That's what Xavier's looked like. So Georgia, I mean, Blake, we could be entering December as an undefeated Bulldog squad, maybe ranked top 25 in the AP.
Can I tell you the most shocking stat through 2 weeks of college basketball play? If you would have told me this a month ago, 2 months ago, 6 months ago, that the fastest team in college basketball right now on the offensive side of the floor is the Georgia Bulldogs with an average offensive possession length of 12.8 seconds. Sign me up. I'm back, Robert. They're reeling me all the way in, pal. This is my kind of team right here. Playing a little too much defense for my liking right now, but keep going fast. Maybe give up a few offensive, layups here or there. They did a few of those against Georgia Tech. But Georgia, add them to the list of that. We're going to put it like the Alabama, Georgia, Vanderbilt trifecta when it comes to the highly entertaining basketball games, potentially.
I didn't even realize that I knew they were flying up and down. I didn't realize they were number 1 in the country right now. They're also 4th in the country in bench minutes. So they haven't had a like a wire to wire nail biter where they've got to play all their guys. But that Georgia Tech game was back and forth, and they still went 12 guys in double-digit minutes against Georgia Tech. That is just
84 possessions.
I mean, come on.
Love this team. Love them. Move them up to number 1. Go Dogs.
Second in the nation in steal rate right now, by the way. Just create an absolute havoc defensively. We're drinking the juice. We're drinking the juice, if you can't tell.
By the way, they are one of the few teams in action tonight. They are a 38.5-point favorite over at our friends at FanDuel against Florida A&M. If they don't put up 115 tonight, I'm moving them down the rankings. Sorry, Robert.
Oh, the poor Rattlers. Don't do it to the Rattlers. All right, moving up into the top half, we have Mizzou, M-I-Z, in the chat. Missouri at number 8. They are coming off of maybe one of the best wins of the week for the SEC, to be honest. The Wednesday win, the big one, over the new look Minnesota team with Nico Medved and company, was down early, was looking rough in that first half. Second half, completely different story. Whatever Dennis Gates said at halftime, keep saying it before every game, because, man, did they run away in the second half. You want to talk about being top in the country and stuff. 4th right now in the nation in effective field goal percentage. Try to stop these Tigers from getting to the rim, Blake. You're not gonna.
Well, Sam says, you know who else you can't slow down? Mark Maffing Mitchell. Mark Maffing. Do you know that's his middle name? Maffing. It's Mark Mitchell's middle name. Yeah. So, Mr. Maffing here. Yeah, I mean, I think, look, in all honesty, Missouri would probably be higher if it wasn't for a certain performance for a certain team that we're probably going to get to here in just a second. But I think that may have knocked Missouri down a spot this week. I'm trying to remember where they were last week. But, yeah, I was really impressed in terms of watching that second half play and really just down the stretch to make as many plays as they did. And we mentioned, I think that's where, again, the depth's going to come in. You had some guys that didn't have their best game for Missouri, but you had some guys who came in and really gave them a boost, and I think that's going to be the story, just as it's been in recent years, right? Where you're just going to have some of these games where guys just go off, whether it's our guy Jacob Cruz, Jaden Stone, whoever. And so that, to me, is still going to be the strength of this team. And look out. Here come the Fighting Dennis Gateses. And I said it, and I'm sorry to put the jinx on it, Sam, and many other Missouri fans. I wrote it down. It is in print. You can see it. I said if Missouri is not 8-0, they should feel very disappointed. Prairie View A&M, South Dakota, South Carolina State, Cleveland State coming up next, all home games. Should be 8-0 heading into that ACC challenge game against Notre Dame on the 2nd.
Yeah, and right now, if you're looking at lineup distribution, Luke Northweather is playing 51% of the minutes at the 5. That's leading the team. He's playing good. He's knocking down 3-point shots. Get him out there if he's going to do that. But probably going to look a little bit different when you get Trent Burns, and Trent Pierce back. So only going to be on the up and up as the front court gets a little bit more healthy for Mizzou.
All right, before we get to the top 7, if you're so excited about Mr. Maffing and many other SEC basketball players that you're thinking, man, I'd like to buy some jewelry. Well, again, it's quite an interesting way to get there. But the Nashville-based fine jewelry company brand, known as the Yearly Company, built on tradition, designed for meaning, each piece handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, made to measure for a perfect fit, and backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle, custom sized, you got to know the size, and of course, that's where the sizing kit comes in. 100% off at checkout. It's free, it's complimentary. SE16 kit. You got to put that code in there. SE16 kit, 100% off the sizing kit at checkout. Go over to the Yearly Company, check it out, buy some jewelry. You can thank us later. All right, as Bill says, he's never wanted to buy a necklace more in his entire life. Take my money. We hear that a lot, to be honest with you. The Yearly Company calls us daily and says, you know what? I can't tell you how many people have come in and said they just heard you talk about some obscure KenPom stat, and it got them so revved up that they came and bought some jewelry.
Yep.
We hear it daily.
Heard it once, heard it a million times, Blake.
Yeah. ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Now, they hear different things from us there because they say, you know what? We had someone come in and said they just threw their phone halfway across the room because their team lined up in a friggin' shotgun on 4th and inches, and they lined up in the shotgun for some reason, and they got a 2-yard loss. But if your team does that regularly, which I think is about 80 to 90% of teams in college football these days, play some Madden. You'll understand it's not a good idea. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. They will let you throw your phone because it's such a strong quality product. 25% off over there, SEC25. SEC25 for 25% off over at ROKFORM. Shotgun on friggin' 4th and inches. What are we doing?
There you
what
go.
Have we done
Sam
here?
says Trent Burns is not a real person. It's like the Blade movie. Until it happens, he doesn't exist.
Wow.
I'm gonna have a little prediction here, Sam. At some point this season, Trent Burns is gonna come in and have a big Z type of introduction game, and we are going to overreact tenfold, lose our minds, and say Trent Burns might be the greatest player to ever play. That's gonna be a little prediction. I hope it happens.
Maybe. Anyways, thanks for your support of our sponsors. And yes, Big Blue Nation up there, I see you. We'll take any sponsors that'll pay us anything. That's right.
That's us.
Doesn't matter who you are.
That's us.
Come on.
All right. Moving on up.
Blue Nation. BBN.
The Hogs. Razorbacks at number 7 after a little bit of a disappointment there on Friday. Not going to knock the opponent. Lenny Acuff has Samford playing some good basketball. However, only a 4-point victory for Arkansas. They were only up by 3 there for a while in the second half. Not an ideal result there. Blake, coming off of a big win against a poor Central Arkansas team, kind of takes Samford a little bit lightly.
Yeah, I mean, but the story is the same. Like, your freshmen are still leading the way, man. I just think there's going to be some bumps in the road when that happens. I mentioned, like we had talked about previously, there's still going to be some possessions during games like that where you just look up and you're like, all right, would love that shot back. Not the greatest shot selection. The defensive, I think, aspect too, that's something that maybe we need to keep an eye on. Carter Knox kind of didn't have his I think that's it too, right? But probably more so you're thinking on the defensive end a little bit in this game. They only made 6 threes, did Arkansas. I don't know that that's going to wind up being a huge surprise if you have some more of those games like that. What are they shooting to this point? They're shooting 33.6%. So I'm not wanting to overreact to that game too much because, again, Lenny Acuff, good coach, but their results have not been the best, and that's not a great defensive team statistically. So I just think maybe we just have to expect they're going to have some of these early on because that's sort of been the way it's gone. And I don't know. I'm not going to overreact too much, but yes, I think that there are some things where I'll tell you, Max, the biggest thing maybe is, I'm sorry because we said this last year, but I think depth's going to wind up being the story here. Like if they get in foul trouble, stuff like that, I don't know, man. Those rotations are going to get a little weird sometimes. And I think that's going to be the story we're going to monitor with this team, right? Is just the overall depth. And maybe that's what it winds up being. So,
well, the disappointment so far has been Malik Ewan. No doubt about it. I mean, he's been a non-factor, really. Neither his offensive or defensive rebounding percentage is in double digits yet. He was one of the best in the ACC last year. Plays only 7 minutes against Samford, 2 points, no rebounds, a turnover and a block, 2 fouls. I mean, this is supposed to be in, third, second team, all SEC level, kind of guy. And right now he's not living up to the bill. And that was, one of the big, that was probably the biggest strength for me outside of this freshman talent was, wow, in a year where college basketball is losing a ton of like old talented big men, no Broom, no Kalkbrenner, no Jawan Roberts, just look at the Final Four and all these big guys that were out there. wow, what an advantage having Pringle and Ewan's going to be. And right now it hasn't been an advantage. No, at least not the sizable one I was projecting. So something to be a little bit concerned about for me.
Yeah, I think, again, anytime you have teams like this that are still relying on a lot of underclassmen, I think you're going to have some ups and downs early on in this era. But still, Arkansas's upside is very high. They've still got
Of course.
a lot of potential, and we just need to see how some of these guys can develop within this system. Because right now, like you said, I think there's still some TBD on some of them. So
as negative as I just was, you got 2 tune-ups here at home, a good Winthrop team, and then Jackson State. And then you got a neutral court game against Duke, which I honestly think Arkansas matches up really well with the size and the talent that Duke can offer and that Arkansas can offer. A little bit down right now, but man, this thing can go on the upswing very fast. So I don't want to be all negative.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Keep in mind, Mike, Winthrop under Mark Prosser is a team that's going to get up and down the floor, so should be a high possession game in that one. That's where, again, you'd like to see a few things defensively, but also shot selection. I think will be important because it will feel like a game that's going up and down. So something to keep an eye on there with that. So, and yes, Big Blue Nation, I understand you were joking about the sponsors, but I'm not joking. Okay, anyone and everyone is welcome. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Here we go.
All right.
Top six. Here we go. Here's the team to talk about, I think, at number 6. Come on.
The Tigers. Auburn. What a result. What a game. Man, we've been saying atmosphere a lot this early season because we have been treated to it's been a college basketball diehards delight here in November with the big time prime time matchups we've gotten. Houston 1-point thriller win, squeaks one out in Birmingham against Auburn. Keshawn Hall doesn't play the last 4-ish minutes it was like a mid-foot ankle. I thought he was just having like foot cramps in the moment. We haven't gotten too much information after I watched Stephen Pearl's post game, and we didn't get much information on Hall, but no Hall down the stretch there, and you go out. I think Hall goes out. They're down about 4 or 6 points, Blake. The guys get a bunch of defensive stops. They stymie the old guards of Houston, the freshman Fleming, and man, could have had that one.
All right, you ready for my Stephen Pearl press conference quote of the day? I love this guy. I love him. Here we go.
Oh, I know what one you're going to do. I know.
You know what it's going to be, don't you?
Yep.
Quote, "We expected to win the game. Moral victories are for losers. I have elite confidence in this group." Ready to run through a brick wall for this guy. He says, "We're here to win, Max Barr." I mean, I think, again, you can only come out of this feeling very more optimistic about Auburn. Something else I wrote in the column last week for Basket and Review, I was like, hey, I think we overreacted a little bit to game 1. I think way too many people overreacted to that performance and result. But if you really saw how they played in those next 2 games, you were seeing a team that was figuring some things out. Now, I know those 2 opponents weren't a Houston, but you could see some things against Merrimack and Wofford where you're thinking, all right, this is a team that took what happened in game 1, faced some adversity, and they've responded. And they've worked out the things that they did not do well in that first game. And so they carried that over to this Houston game, had every chance to win it. So I think, yeah, you've got to feel like Auburn is trending up. And again, just like the other teams, there are going to be some things they've got to do better. Houston did not have their best offensive game and still managed to pull out the victory. Maybe, Auburn can say the same thing. Again, you're looking at the free throw line, you're thinking, man, you missed 12 free throws. If you just hit 2 of those, right, then you only missed 10 free throws and you win the game. All those what ifs, you can play it out however many times you want. But I think when you look at the way some of these guys are responding, I think that's the thing I'm interested in. Now, again, it was kind of a pretty tight rotation here, right? I mean, 6 players basically. So yeah. That could be something to monitor here moving forward. But, hey, you only need 5 on the floor, Max. And I think, they've got a pretty good group right now that seems to be figuring out some things. And I know, more victories, as Stephen Pearl said. I understand. But guess what? We're not coaching basketball. We're doing SEC power rankings. And, boy, you better believe there are more victories when it comes to the power rankings here. So, yeah.
Yeah, a few takeaways from that game. Well, one is it's finally good to have Murph healthy, and he's looking like he's getting back to his normal self. Jovic, not the best. I don't think he's going to be ready for these big time games. But on the flip side, Sebastian Williams Adams, I absolutely love this guy. He is on the bully ball watch list. He is firmly on the bully ball watch list. I'll reiterate that there's still justice that needs to be served for all of the voters that left Keyshawn Hall off their first, second, and third team. I will be leading the legal dispute for that. We want justice for Keyshawn Hall. Elijah Freeman, 100% belongs. We were wondering how he would fit in coming from a lower level. He is right there. But Blake, and you just started a comment that I wanted to talk about as well. I was not impressed with Houston. I'm not trying to take anything away from Auburn. Absolutely nothing at all. But man, there's no LJ Cryer. There's no Jawan Roberts. If Senac and Tugler, like we saw, get in any form of foul trouble, which they'll probably be against every single high major aggressive team, I don't know. I am not buying Houston as a Final Four team. I don't know about. They're very dependent on 5 guys and 5 guys only.
All right, you know me, ultimate optimist here. Keep in mind, how long has it been since Kelvin Sampson has played 3 freshmen 20-plus minutes? And I think you're going to see some of this early on. I think Houston will eventually figure it out. But I'm with you. Right now, they don't look like a national championship team. But the good thing is you're not playing for the national championship in November. You're going to play for it in April. And so I think the freshmen will come along. But right now, yes, I think there are some things. The experience just isn't there. Again, right? Like we can look back and be like, all right, this was a team that you just are like, I've seen these guys play 100,000 games together. But they don't have that on this team right now. And so I think you got some guys that are still figuring each other out. And so we'll see what happens with Houston.
And last year, just one quick thing, this isn't the Houston Power Rankings, but last year they were 3rd in the nation in 3-point shooting at 39.4%. Right now they're 280th at 28.7%. So they don't have that perimeter pop to go with that number 1 defense this year. So I don't know.
They're going to have to win some ugly games, but
yeah,
I think they're okay with that. Their defense is going to be good enough that I just don't think it's going to matter. All right, we got to catch up on Super Chats here before we move on here. Zach, $5 Super Chat. Actually woke up early this morning to give Keyshawn all your ankle. Secret's out. Well, Zach, unfortunately, we might have to move Keyshawn Hall off for all SEC teams now if we know he's playing with your ankle out there, pal. So, just kidding. We might have to move him up. Might be player of the year with Zach's ankle. You never know.
Right now he's number 2 in KenPom player of the year, by the way. Number 2.
9-time champion. $2 Super Chat. Comparing 2 of his Auburn favorites here. We'll let you all read on the screen. That one. We don't like to knock anyone, but Happy Face Coffee. Tremendous stuff. $5 Super Chat. Where would we have put Auburn if they had won? That's a good question. I think it's fair to say we probably would have moved. Where were they at 6?
Yep.
I think it's fair to say we would have moved them up probably to. I think they could have gotten to. I think we got to 4 had they won. Maybe 3.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, 4 or 3 probably.
Yeah. I think they'd probably move up to 3 or 4. Probably 3, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So
move up a few spots.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Top 5.
Who would they jump? They would jump Tennessee.
They would have jumped Tennessee.
Yeah. At 5. Tennessee. Yep. I probably would have had them above Tennessee. Tennessee was coming off of a week where they only played on Wednesday against North Florida, put up 99 in that game. There was no Bishop Boswell, still coming back from the injury. You did have an encouraging game from JP Estrella that we talked about, career high. Not much, though. I mean, North Florida ranked 344th. Only 3 games to go off of right now, and we won't get a great look until late November against you know who, Houston.
Like I just don't have a lot to say about
There's
Tennessee
not much to go on.
We didn't really learn anything from last week, so I'm just sort of like, yeah, they're just kind of here in this spot. And again, JP Estrella, I think, has been the biggest talking point probably so far. I mean, this guy is playing at an all SEC level right now. In fantasy, Max, I probably should have picked JP Estrella, but the problem is he was listed as a forward, not a center. Don't get me started on that, though. But yeah, this guy's he's been excellent so far, and you've got him as kind of a guaranteed thing. You're kind of rounding out your big three now, I guess you could say. You've got Nate Ament, you've got Jacoby Gillespie, and JP Estrella. So
Rick Barnes was asked what was the significance to playing Dwayne Brown before Jalen Carey, and he was like, that's just practice. We make all of our decisions based on what we see in practice, and that decision was based off of that. Basically, I don't know, taking that as Dwayne Brown's been more of a dog in practice than Jalen Carey has. Wants it a little bit more. Dwayne Brown seeing a little bit more minutes. We did not see that coming, but I guess it's not a bad problem to have too many big guys.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So
yep. At number 4, Blake, the Commodores of Vanderbilt, and you could argue, put these guys a little bit higher. It's been nice to have us say Vanderbilt for the past 6 months, and then have everybody start to see what Mark Byington has gotten going here in Nashville. I mean, it's 363rd Arkansas Pine Bluff, but you drop 104, third time in 4 games, you're getting north of 100. This offense is ranked 4th in the nation right now. Their turnover rate is ranked 3rd. They're not going to turn it over. They're going to get a great shot, and they're going to do it quick. Sign me up.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned, I was at that Eastern Kentucky game on Wednesday, and I was like, I don't feel like they played that great offensively, and they still scored 92 points. I just and I think that's kind of one of the things that you just look up and that they just got so many ways to beat you, man. And again, everything will change when you start to play SEC competition on a nightly basis, but I just think they are much further along in terms of the chemistry right now. There was no Frankie Collins, you said, in that game, but I just think their chemistry is outstanding with so many new pieces, and these guys are just gelling well together. And I'm telling you, the experience is going to be the factor. Just as we mentioned, who have we talked about? Arkansas, like Houston, teams like that are having to acclimate to having to run through some underclassmen. This is a team that's just got so much experience, and I think that's paying off early. And that UCF win looks a little bit better right now when it comes to not just winning, but being able to put up a 105 on UCF. So SMU is the next real challenge for them. I say that. I forgot. They're playing in Atlantis. They're playing the Bahamas. So remember, that starts on the 26th, so next Wednesday. So we don't really know who they could wind up playing in some of those matchups, but that's something. If Vanderbilt goes in and wins the battle for Atlantis, Ken Palm may move him up to number 1. I don't know. So got him at 12 right now. So
quick note on Frankie Collins, who missed the last game. Byington said that he probably could have gone. It's a lower leg injury, and it's just one of those that they're trying to make sure he gets back to 100%. So Frankie is dealing with a little bit of that leg injury, but nothing to be too concerned about.
Let's check out the Battle for Atlantis bracket real quick. Can we find this thing somewhere? Where is the bracket? Here we go. All right, so they're going to play Western Kentucky in Game 1. Game 2 will come against VCU or South Florida. Boy, this Battle for Atlantis field is not what it used to be, is it? Colorado State, Virginia Tech, and then Wichita State, St. Mary's. Oh, come on. You got to sign me up for a championship game between Vanderbilt and St. Mary's. That's all I want. That's all I want for Thanksgiving. Vanderbilt, St. Mary's, sign me up. We got to make it happen. Come on.
That's like 2 opposite ends of how to coach a team, how to have a team play basketball. What a matchup.
Rematch from last year in the NCAA tournament. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be 59-56 this year if it happens.
No.
All right. Come on.
I actually had Vanderbilt ranked 3rd, to be honest.
Ooh,
I had
them.
them
High man this week.
I had Vanderbilt ranked 3rd. I had them above this team. I had these teams swapped. I had the Cats, the Wildcats, Kentucky, due to the Jalen Lowe injury. Now could be a season ender. I had Vanderbilt one spot higher. But nonetheless, Kentucky comes in after Eastern Illinois 99-53 shellacking. Eastern Illinois was missing a few key guys, but still, I don't think that would have really made a difference. Number one thing I took away from this, nice game from Yelovich. 15 minutes, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 3 of them offensive, tied for the team lead. Mark Pope was asked in the postgame, hey, could we see a little bit more of Yelovich at the 5 here until JQ gets back? And he said he's definitely capable of holding his own there. 6'11", 230, Yelovich. But Blake, the story has been the injuries. What's new?
Yeah, again, was it you that dubbed them or we were talking about
the 49ers.
The San Francisco 49ers of the East here.
They are.
Yeah, it sucks because, again, you just would like to see a team that can just stay fully healthy. But I did keep Kentucky here. I'm kind of going to go with the thinking that I don't want to penalize a team until I see it. So, like, we know they have an injury. People are kind of saying the same thing about Oklahoma football when John Mateer got injured. It's like, well, can you really penalize them until you actually see them play again and you see how it affects them? Obviously, we'll know on Tuesday in terms of, like, they play Michigan State tomorrow. We'll have a better sense of kind of what this Kentucky team is going to look like and such. So, yeah, just one of those things. So, I think this is probably about right with them because even though I can't penalize them, I do have to factor in the unknowns a little bit. Still, Kentucky at this point, we know lost the game at Louisville. They have the wins elsewhere, and Michigan State tomorrow night, kind of a fun test there. So there you have it.
There's been a lot of chatter and reaction to Mark Pope's press conferences lately.
I've seen that.
Big Blue Nation has not been very happy with Mark Pope, but one interesting note that he did say that I thought was worth talking about. Well, two pieces actually. One was that he took Otega Owe off to the side in practice and had a conversation with him, trying to get his confidence going. Didn't really say what the conversation was about, but Owe has been getting some criticism. Kind of an SEC Player of the Year front runner. Hasn't really been playing as such. A little bit of a different team. He's not surrounded by 3-point snipers this year, so the efficiency's gone down a bit. And then Pope was like, it was kind of nice to hear from a coach, but he was like, guys, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm frustrated. I wish we were farther along with this team's identity. I'm searching for it, and I don't really know why we haven't gotten farther along. So you're dealing with a point guard injury. You're one of the best potential bigs in the country coming back from injury, and your own coach is saying he's not happy with where you're at, and you're still like top 10 in the nation. Like, a lot of things have gone wrong, and you're still in a good spot.
Well, Matt's here. Joined just the right time. Matt is unsubscribed again after Kentucky lands at number 3 here. So shout out to Matt. We'll talk to him shortly, and then he'll be back. Don't worry, he'll subscribe again, probably about 3 minutes. But Let's go to number 2 because I guess we could go 2 and 1 because we had different 1 and 2. Yeah, so we had different 1 and 2 here.
We were flip flopped.
I'll let Max explain the tiebreaker and how it turned out this way. So
we were flip flopped. Blake had Alabama holding the last week's 1 spot, and I swapped. I did Florida, but we went with Alabama number 1 because Alabama has the best win in the SEC right now, still with that St. John's win. And guys, let's call it what it is. It was 80. Purdue looked like the better team, right? But it was still 80-80 with 2-3 possessions. What was it, like a minute and a half left? So it's not like Purdue comes in and just absolutely destroys Alabama. Alabama had a chance to win it, and they have the better win. And let's not act like Florida has looked like guns blazing. The guards still drawing a lot of warranted criticism. The 3-point numbers in the backcourt for Florida were expected to drop. They've whatever cliff you can think of, just double it, and that's how the 3-point numbers have fallen off. Xavier Lee's at 17%. Boogie Flan's only made 2 threes at 12%. Warranted backcourt concerns there, Blake, and it is what it is.
Yeah, so the reason I left Alabama at 1, I just think, again, whether you want to say it's just because they have the best win, or I really do think when you have such a lopsided stat where it's 52 to 28 on the glass, people are just going to completely overreact on that. But like I mentioned, it's sort of like, okay, they also win and out rebounded St. John's, who has one of the best front courts in the country. Um, they missed wide open threes down the stretch where they finished 16 to 44, Alabama did. So, like, again, they were right there with a chance to win the game.
Right there.
And you did it without your best player even having a memorable performance by any means. That's a forgettable performance from Lovell and Max Barr. So,
Yeah.
and Alabama was right there with a chance to win it with a minute and a half to go. So, I just don't think I could penalize them for that. But like on the Florida side of things, I look at it and I'm thinking, okay, we said it. 2 improved ACC teams in Florida State and Miami. And again, you're going to see kind of the things that stand out for Florida. Tommy H continues to be the best player in the history of the sport. Condon, I think people have said, Condon's have some ups and downs, but I think overall the guy is just going to do so many things that, yes, you may see a couple bad plays, a couple turnovers, whatever. And yeah, by the way, Big Baller Brad, I forgot to mention, like Alabama's also missing key parts of their rotation, so it's like you add that factor in too.
Yep.
But I think overall with Florida, for Clapsar to have the game he did, here's the thing: that's going to have to happen a lot more, because if it doesn't, yeah, like now I think maybe we are questioning some things when it comes to this front court. And I don't even, like, to me, it's not even like the play. It's just making shots, right? Like, it's not like I'm looking at these guys, I'm like, they're just not good enough to be in this spot, or they can't be outstanding as a duo. You just got to make shots. And like we said, sometimes the game is that easy. And these two guys, again, 0 for 10 combined from 3. And yes, Florida's 3-point numbers are still not good. Their free throw numbers, it's another game. Florida misses 10 more free throws. Like, these are the kind of things the reason why we pick on Florida for these things, and there'll be people who say, well, it's unfair, you don't pick on other. They're the defending national champions, right? And we're looking at it, I think, in the scope of if they're going to defend their national championship, these are the things that have to get better. So, yes, we may be a little bit harder on Florida because we're like, all right, hey, your goal as the defending national champion is to win the national championship again. So, it feels like they're a long way from that right now. But, man, if they can just ever make shots, it will get better. But right now, as one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country at 23.5%, yeah, maybe Big Gator EJ's right. Eventually they start falling, but they're not right now.
And I think they will. They got at least a little bit better than they are right now. There's no way that we end the season and Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee are combining for like 14% on high volume. That would be ridiculous. Yeah. Another like kind of development that's a little bit concerning is we were expecting solid production from at least one of the freshmen, at least one of CJ Ingram or Alex Lloyd, or even one of the Brown brothers. And Isaiah Brown did have his best game yet, but it wasn't great. It wasn't great by any means, but CJ Ingram doesn't play. Alex Lloyd has only gotten on the game in the North Florida game, hasn't played in the other 3. He was drawing like LeBaron Philon comparisons this offseason. So if that depth isn't there with Ingram and Lee, it's like, geez, well, Glabjar, we gotta keep this production going because it's not coming from other places right now. And as we talk through it right now, I probably should have had Alabama in my number 1 spot, given that they don't have Bristow, Bethea, and these guys. Alabama probably is slightly more deserving right now. And man, that's impressive given what Alabama's already done. They don't have some key, not starting level guys, maybe Bethea, but Bristow there in that Purdue game. Bristow could have been the difference. If he plays, they might win that game.
Let me look real quickly at the updated. So I'm just going to tell you, right now at FanDuel, the updated odds for the SEC regular season winner: Kentucky's plus 300, Florida's plus 420, Alabama's plus 500. I'll be honest with you. I think Alabama's the favorite to win the SEC right now. I think, again, and the reason is what you just said. We know they're going to get 2 key players back, and they already to me, in my opinion, look like the best team. And so now you could also wonder the same thing. It's like, okay, when JQ comes back, that FanDuel line maybe factoring that a little bit, how the big impact that guy's going to have too. So if you want to get your Alabama SEC title winner odds, I don't think they're going to get much worse than they are right now. So at plus 500, maybe a steal if you think the Tide are the team to beat. But again, and you guys have talked about it in the comments, teams are just going to look a lot different than they did when we're talking a month from now before Christmas. They're going to look so much different than they are right now for some of these teams. And again, maybe Florida's shooting the ball better. Maybe Alabama's got key rotation guys back and they're just blitzing all these teams in a tough non-conference schedule. Auburn, as we said, got a really tough non-conference schedule. So, but this is all we have to go on so far. So we're not picking on Florida. We're not picking on the other teams, but it's all we have to react to. So.
And it's also eye test. I mean, throw on the St. John's or Purdue game, and maybe defensively, with how up and down Alabama plays, there's definitely some things to be desired.
It's just defense. Who cares?
But even rebounding, maybe a little bit of the front court rebounding for Alabama, but just watch these past two games and these guards. It's just so dang good. Might be we were having the best backcourt in the SEC, best backcourt in the nation conversations all offseason through the first 2 weeks. It's not even a conversation. Alabama by a landslide right now.
By the way, get your Vanderbilt plus 1,000 over at FanDuel to win the SEC as well. It's time to get in on those, folks. All right, updated national championship odds for those curious. Kentucky still leads the way in the SEC plus 1,600. Florida's at plus 2,000, so they've dropped a bit. Alabama plus 2,000 as well. Arkansas plus 3,000. Tennessee plus 3,000. The Commodores making a move plus 5,000 over there. So
I like it.
All right. 2-minute warning. Questions, comments, super chats. They're all welcome here on the way out. As we said, tonight's slate is not very good.
No.
Georgia hosts Florida A&M, 38.5-point favorites. Missouri hosts Prairie View A&M, 36.5-point favorites. Tennessee hosts Rice, 26.5-point favorite there. Tomorrow night,
though, good slate.
Things pick up. Kentucky and Michigan State. That's an early 5:30 p.m. Central tip. Arkansas and Winthrop, we said, kind of a game to keep an eye on.
A&M Winthrop, game to keep an eye, or not Winthrop, Montana.
Montana, yep. A&M Montana, and that's your slate. Well, there's more games, but South Carolina, Radford, and so forth. All right. Any questions, comments? Talk about the shotgun, 4th and inches. Why teams still stay in the shotgun? I don't know, but yeah.
How about Elijah Freeman's dunk? Didn't get the win, but what a dunk.
How about Stephen Pearl chasing after the referee? I thought Stephen Pearl was going to go body slam the referee. So we didn't bring that up earlier, but that was something else too to monitor on that.
I've always
Elijah
wondered.
Freeman was, that's why it came together. Elijah Freeman was the guy that was like, hang on a second, coach, hold on. So
when there's like a really, really bad call, like the defensive pass interference last night that decided the Lions-Eagles game, when there's like a really bad call, I've always wondered, like, me personally, I would freak out, probably get ejected. I'm paying fines. I'm losing control. I'm like, when there is a call that decides the game, that's a bad call, I'm like, how do these people not freak out? Stephen Pearl, immediate, right to the ref. I don't want to know what he said, but I probably would have said something similar. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. All right. Nick asks on the way out here, which games are being previewed today? The only game we're going to preview will be Kentucky, Michigan State. I don't know exactly when that'll be up. It may be this evening. It may be tomorrow morning. But either way, we'll have your preview up for that one. We were going to do Auburn, Houston. I was traveling this weekend. We just didn't get a chance to get to it. So apologize for that. And Holly wants the SEC gut bracket. Oh, boy. Listen, I'll make a deal with you guys. All right? So the next time Lenardi updates his bracketology, which will be this week, on one of the shows, we will do a gut bracket. All right? I'll make a deal with you. Yes. And so we have a lot of people in here right now on the way out, and I promise we're done after this one. We're going to hand out some free memberships. Let's give out 5 free memberships today. We're going to save the other free tier we get for the upcoming we still got 5 more for this month, so we'll save those. Let me see if I can get this pulled up here, and we are going to hand out some free memberships for all you fine people in the chat. You may not be Holly, you may not be engaged to Paul McCartney, although it is Holly McCartney now, but you're going to get some free memberships. Here we go. Are you ready, Max? It's always such a fun time. It's very stressful, too. You just don't know who's going to get the memberships, you know? All right, new members here at the channel. Logan is in. Nice. Migrating Coconuts is in. Behind the Edge is in. Brandon's in. And James is in. James, a noted Arkansas fan, as we can see there. So congratulations. You guys are members, and you will be getting in on the bonus content here at Southeastern 16. All right, we're out of here. Thanks for watching. Support our friends at FanDuel, all of our fine sponsors as well. We'll be back basketball-wise. We got Kentucky, Michigan State preview, more stuff to talk about tomorrow. Football, power rankings in about a half hour. And, yeah, more to come. All right, appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16.